I'm going to salute. I'm your host, Chris Budihas, and today's segment is sponsored by the Military Affairs and Veterans Department of the City of Jacksonville. Harrison County's and the team squaring away our veterans with the military benefits they earn through their service that they deserve based on what they did for our great nation. Talking about great veterans, we got Noble over in Dallas, Texas with Arrowhead Leadership Consulting. Noble, how are you?
I'm doing amazing, brother. Great to finally meet you in person, so to speak.
Yeah, it is. I know. It's amazing, and I appreciate, what Eric Lopez is doing with you, Sarah, and the rest of the team at Arrowhead. And I actively watch you on LinkedIn, and then I just know the value Arrowhead is bringing the companies, both tangible and intangible, to make them better versions of themselves, and then in a tangible way, make them more profitable, right? And in so many different ways. So Noble, before we get into Arrowhead, let's get a little bit into you. So your quick elevator pitch, where you originally from and what you do in the military.
So born in Oklahoma, grew up in Illinois, college in New York. And so that's kind of where I'm from. I was an infantry officer in the 82nd Airborne Division and just shared a really funny story. Day one in the 82nd Airborne Division, fresh out of airborne school and Ranger school, my platoon sergeant said, hey, sir, could you go to the arms room real quick before we, get you into this meeting and just ask them for the silencers for the M60s and the chem lights for our night jump tonight. And I'm like, hey, Sergeant, I obviously I've just a 5-jump chump and I've, just went to Ranger school. So I've never heard of silencers for M60s, and we in our little 5 jumps, we never did any chem lights for our night jumps.
Yeah.
I said, doesn't that violate the 5th principle of patrolling? He's like, dang, I almost had you.
Almost got it. So you learned a few things. Yeah. You're street smart, as the kids would say. That's awesome. Well, hey, Noble, thanks for your service to the nation. Obviously, you didn't do what you did. We couldn't do this here today. So let's talk about Arrowhead Leadership. What do you guys do, and how do you do it?
Our mission is to transform leaders' lives at work and at home. Our niche is through emotional intelligent leadership. That's kind of our sweet spot. And the blessing is when you grow your emotional intelligence, it doesn't just make you better, again, at the office, on the job site, in the workforce. It makes you a better husband, wife, mother, father, parent, sibling. It's a positive double-edged sword.
Yeah, that's huge, right? And again, for the audience, I've been tracking Arrowhead for a while. Eric and I are friends, and we served in Afghanistan together, and just watch him go from there in the recruiting command, and then in his post-military journey, help develop this business, this company you do, and their value proposition is very important, in my opinion, for return on investment for any type of companies. But before we kind of pivot into that, why emotional intelligence? I mean, you kind of described it. I mean, how did you guys find that as the sweet spot?
So I will let Eric, answer that for himself. But for me, I have been emotionally clueless for 4 decades. So I oftentimes people ask me, Noble, what are your credentials? I said, well, I have a PhD in emotional neediness, a PhD in toxic positivity, a PhD in emotional codependency, a PhD in people-pleasing addiction. Like, where do you want me to stop? And so they start laughing. And so that is really what got me into pursuing emotional intelligence. I yelled at my wife 3 times in 3 weeks, and she said 3 things. Number one, you've never yelled at me before. You've never done this before, so don't do it again. You've never done it before, which means you've got issues. So went to therapy, and the therapist said, hey, Noble, let me introduce you to 2 revolutionary cutting-edge concepts called feelings and emotions. And I said, I've never heard of those before. I didn't get issued those at Ranger School or West Point. And so that got me on a very intentional emotional fitness journey. 2 years into my emotional fitness journey, all these areas of my life started to change and improve and transform for the better. My faith, my marriage, my parenting, my finances, my business, my fitness. So I decided to start a podcast called EQ Gangster. And that's where I've been sharing all my lessons learned of my emotional growth journey on the EQ Gangster YouTube and podcast.
That's excellent. So for the audience who are looking at Arrowhead or looking at opportunity to partner with an organization such as yours, what are some of the benefits you've seen, through current clients or former clients that would inform their decision to contact you guys to potentially partner together?
What's been fascinating, Chris, we've got a growing portfolio of, I don't know, we're probably around 20 to 30 companies now, of small to some large companies, $4 billion companies, and some smaller, multi-million dollar companies. But what's fascinating is a lot of those companies, if not all of them, have multi-generational leaders in the organization, where you've got 3 or 4 generations of people in that organization.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of those companies that have not figured out how to connect, communicate, coach, and do conflict well with
Wow.
each of those generations. And there are some generational emotional intelligence trends and themes between each of those bands. And a lot of the default is a very transactional approach to their leadership style. And nowadays, it's important to develop those people skills or soft skills,
Yeah.
in addition to those transactional skills. So ultimately, how it affects is, if you want to increase retention, reduce that attrition, if you want to create healthier conflict, healthier, more productive conflict, if you want to allow a stronger culture, a
Yeah.
strong culture increases net income by 756% in
Wow.
a research study done by Harvard in over 200 companies over 11 years. So there is real value to the bottom line for learning people skills slash soft skills.
Yeah, that's huge. There's so much to unpack there, right? I mean, it's funny. A friend of mine gave me a book from Buddy Hobart called The Leadership Decade. It talks about those 5 generations in the workplace, and then the perceptions that are either true or untrue, and misconceptions and biasness as a result. But when through your own experience, obviously in this space, and then previous to this in the military, communications could be the seam that kind of ties things together, so there's not these misperceptions and understandings about each other, and some of them are actually true in some cases, but it's just understanding that you know why is what's happening in your workplace could be cleaned up through a better form of communication in many cases. And obviously, like I tell folks, they go, how hard is it to start a small business? It's very easy in Florida, did in 24 hours. Now, running a small business is harder, but as you know, as you become, especially those larger companies, you lose, I don't say lose control, but it becomes a little bit harder. Now, organizational leading is much different than say a small company, and you guys are really kind of helping them see themselves and coach them through. And I no doubt, I've seen the reviews on the company and your guys' performance. Number one, they're inviting you back, and then two, the positive input from the people in the audience is exponential.
It's been a blessing to be able to do the work that we're getting a chance to do, for sure.
Yeah. So Noble, for Arrowhead clients, you already mentioned you do anywhere between small to large companies. Are you guys in the ability, or you had the desire to work with clients across the nation?
Oh, 100%, absolutely, for sure. We already do. We from coast to coast, we've got clients for sure.
Okay. And some of your services are obviously there's the coaching, and then you guys do keynotes also, and then you can tailor made a seminar, a workshop to meet the needs based on desires of the company. Is that correct?
That's right. And also, like, I'm also certified in delivering the 5 dysfunctions of a team workshop as well. That's been a very, very powerful and effective tool and resource as well. We use a couple of different EQ assessments. We've got DISC personality assessments as well that we use. So we've got a lot of tools and resources that we use. But yeah, that can be delivered through one-on-one coaching sessions, and that's in person and or remote sessions, or
Yeah,
a hybrid. Some companies do hybrid workshops, keynotes, speaking engagements, client engagements, that kind of thing. A lot of different ways to deliver.
that's awesome. So Noble, how do people find you and how they find Arrowhead Leadership Consulting? And then my third question is, again, one more time on the podcast, EQ Gangster.
Yeah, EQ Gangster is my podcast, and that
Okay.
I share all just my own personal leadership lessons learned and emotional growth journey, and also even share some client stories and success stories as well. And arrowheadleadership.com is our website for the company, and Eric Lopez on LinkedIn. He posts some phenomenal content on LinkedIn, and then Noble Gibbons, NOBLEGIBBENS on LinkedIn as well.
That's awesome. And it's Arrowhead-Leadership, if I remember correctly.
That's right.
Awesome.
That's right.
Well, Noble, what we're going to do is take all that contact information you just told us about. We're going to put it in our show notes. We're going to highly encourage folks to connect with you on LinkedIn and all other forms of social. Take a look at Arrowhead Leadership, and then I will also start to follow EQ Gangster. I just love the title, and no doubt, you're passing along, hard lessons where people, they can do some self-reflection, improve themselves, and also improving yourself to 24 cycles. So at work, at home, as you stated, and then from there, man, I look forward to staying in contact and seeing where Arrowhead goes well into the future. So thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity, Chris. Really appreciate all that you do.
Yes, sir. No, thank you. Again, thank you for your service to the nation, and appreciate what you guys are doing in your post-military journey to really move the needle for our industry champions that are out there between small to large businesses. So appreciate it. Hey, folks, take a look at our show notes. Get fired up. Take a look at EQ Gangster podcast. Start to follow Noble and all his lessons learned there. Connect with us both on LinkedIn, and take a look at Arrowhead Leadership Consulting. They can really come to your company, partner with you, and make your company a better version of itself, which no doubt in the long run is going to make you both a better company to work at, but also more profitable in your business and marketing space or market space. So we'll see you in our next segment, Live with Gratitude.
When they leave us for battle, we await their return. When their embrace is gone, we imagine them with us. Some don't come back. We grieve. Some come back hurting. We help. Heroes survive. We honor them. Heroes fall. We remember them. 150,000 veterans live in Jacksonville. We serve them. We're the Military Affairs and Veterans Department, City of Jacksonville. Because of them, our light never dims.